Together with American songwriter, we had the opportunity to talk to Emma Zander.
Adam was able to talk to Emma over the phone. Check out her new single, America's Favorite Tranquilizer. She shot the music video in quarantine, and it's really funny.
Make sure to check out our YouTube channel and Facebook page at Bringing It Backwards, and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Bringing Back Pod.
We'd appreciate your support if you follow and subscribe to our podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts.
We're Bringing It Backwards with Emma Zander.
Hey, it's Emma.
Hi, Emma. How are you?
Good. How's it going?
Pretty well. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I've been listening to your podcast last few days, and I love all the interviews you've done.
Really? Thank you so much. That really means a lot. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the Rex.
Oh, yeah. They're a great band.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I discovered some new ones.
Awesome. Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much. So the podcast is about your journey in music and how you got to where you are today.
Cool. Let's dive in.
Right on. I believe I read that you grew up in New York. Is that true?
I did. I grew up in the suburbs of New York.
You want to tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was interesting because I did live in a pretty small town, but I was 45 minutes from New York City. So I was able to go from a pretty young age and start doing theater. I did my first off-Broadway show when I was 15.
Wow.
And I would just take the train into the city every day with my mom and go to rehearsal.
That's awesome. So you were in musical theater.
Yeah.
That was your thing?
That was my thing. I actually went to school for musical theater to conservatory in New York.
Wow.
And yeah, that was the path that I was on for the first 20 years of my life.
Wow. What was the first instrument you learned? Do you play anything other than sing?
So I play a bit of guitar.
Okay.
That's something I've been into since high school, but really mostly focus on singing.
Cool. Did you take like voice lessons and stuff as a kid?
Oh yeah. I actually, I trained in opera from the time I was 12 to really when I went off to college.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was really cool to get that training because I think once you have that foundation, it's like everything else becomes a little easier.
Mm-hmm. Did you have to learn how to sing in like different languages and stuff?
Yeah, I had to do. I auditioned for the Juilliard opera program, didn't get in, but for that one, I had to prepare an Italian opera, a French opera, a German opera. So
wow.
It was really, really interesting. And it was such a cool learning experience for me.
Yeah. Was it hard to get your voice to sing and, different inflections and different, words that you don't say on a normal basis, I guess?
I feel like it's surprisingly easier with singing versus speaking for me. But yeah, I did have to learn what all the words meant so I could figure out what emotion was supposed to be behind them. But yeah, I actually learned from these like older Italian ladies in the Bronx. So my mom would drive me to the Bronx and I'd go to their apartments and they were legit, really intense old school opera. So
nice.
Yeah, that was definitely a big part of growing up.
Yeah. What was the first performance you did? Was it a musical theater performance?
Oh yeah. Seven Bridges Middle School, baby. I think, I auditioned for my first play and at 12 years old. And then ever since I was like, this is what I want to do. I'm going to the city. I'm getting an agent and I'm going to figure this out. So it was like love at first sight.
Wow. And then from there, you said you did different plays and stuff, but you went to school for musical theater or just for theater in general?
Yeah, I went to NYU Tisch program for musical theater.
Wow.
Which was really intense and crazy. It was like, you know, going into that environment with so many just talented, you know, triple threat singers. I mean, these people could like belt their faces off and, you know, kick their faces with their leg. They were so good at dancing. And I think that just being around that level of competition was really, really eye-opening for me. The level of commitment and discipline and how seriously everyone in that world takes their craft was, you know, a huge learning experience for me, because I just ultimately, when I didn't end up doing musical theater, but the discipline and the lessons that I learned about you have to really want this are still instilled to me to this day.
Sure. Yeah. Did you have to like audition to get into NYU as far as like into the musical theater program?
Oh yeah, you do a singing audition, you do an acting audition, and you do a dance audition.
Wow. Tell me about that. Was that pretty intense?
Yeah, it was one of the scarier days of my life. I'm not the best dancer. So the dance audition was really what I was most nervous for. I had like the cute little dance clothes, but you know, you had to go in, learn a dance, and then, you know, get up and do it in front of everyone. And that was really what scared me the most. But apparently, I don't know, I got in. So apparently it was good enough.
Did you have to like take dancing and stuff as a kid? Or did you just kind of... Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, I took dancing. I mean, yeah, it never came naturally. I'm still taking dancing to this day, trying to figure it all out and just keep in my body. I think it's so important.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've seen some of your videos. You do a little bit of dancing in those. And like when you when you perform, do you kind of bust out some moves or what?
You know, I don't have any, like, I haven't gotten to the point, I don't really have any choreographed dances that I'm doing. I don't have any backup dancers yet. But it's definitely, I think movement is such a big part of being comfortable on stage. And if you don't practice it regularly, then, you know, what's going to happen when you get up there in front of a bunch of people and you're nervous and your body is stiff and you're like, you know, your heart's beating out of your chest. So it's definitely something that I just have to commit to practicing so that I feel comfortable doing it.
Yeah, that makes sense. When did you decide you're going to NYU? When did you decide to kind of take your focus from musical theater to more just music?
It was definitely a very organic thing, because even when I auditioned for the musical theater program, I sang a pop song. I was so into pop music. And that was just more of my sensibility and where my heart was. So for me, when I moved to LA, it was pretty much like, okay, I'm not going to have a career in theater in Los Angeles. I didn't know what exactly I was going to do. I happened to really stumble upon an opportunity with a producer, and I just started doing writing sessions, and I realized, like, wow, this is it. This is what I want to be doing. So it just kind of happened organically.
Wow. So did you finish school at NYU and then move to LA, or did you just decided I need to get out of here, I need to go to LA? Like, what took you to Los Angeles?
I was kind of done with school early. I was just over it, and I graduated early.
Wow.
So I graduated a year early, and my parents had moved to Los Angeles. My dad, he's in commercial production, so they had moved to Los Angeles, and I came out to visit them, and I just never went back to New York. I'm so meant to be here. I was like way too tan and happy and whatever to be in New York. I'm so LA.
That's awesome. So you're in LA now?
Yes, I live in LA. Where are you guys based?
San Diego, so just south of you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Still in LA.
Very
in the
cool.
LA game, you know.
Yeah. Well, I did see that you've got you've done some. I mean, you've been booked a lot in the acting world as well. How did that all kind of come together for you? Or were you doing acting in New York aside, along with the musical theater, or is that something else you kind of took on when you moved to Los Angeles?
I mean, yeah, acting is, such a big part of musical theater. So I was constantly in acting class my whole life. So when I moved to LA, I knew that I was going to, try to get representation as an actor. And I even thought that maybe that was mainly what I wanted to do before I started songwriting. So yeah, I just, I'm at auditions, I'm at, acting class and improv class and doing the whole actor thing as well. It's really fun for me.
Very cool. Yeah, I saw that you were in 13 Reasons Why, and then I just finished the most recent season the other night, and then I saw the clip, and I'm like, oh, I remember that part. Yeah, you were the girl on the stairs, and then like Clay follows you into the room, and then the boyfriend like freaks out.
Yeah, that was so much fun. I don't know if you saw on Instagram, but my trailer said "drunk girl."
Oh, did I didn't see that. That's funny.
So yeah, my manager tried to get them to change the name. Like, can we do Party Girl? Can we do, can we just give her a name? And
sure.
They were like, no, she's Drunk Girl. So that's on my IMDb now.
That's
and
cool.
It's kind of my claim to fame.
Well, I mean, that show is massive. That's so awesome that you had a chance to be in it.
It was honestly such a fun experience. And there was that whole scene where I'm like laying down in the bed and the guys are having an argument, and they did a lot of takes of that scene. And I legit fell asleep on that bed.
Did you? That's funny. That must have been because you're like in the scene, with the main guy in the show. That's pretty rad. It wasn't like
they were
scene
all
where
so friendly.
no one's there. You're like in pretty main of like the whole episode is kind of focused around that.
I know, and I didn't know until I showed up to set that day. So
wow.
That was really cool.
That's awesome. Sorry, that was kind of off topic, but I just saw that and I was like, I need to ask her about that because that's pretty amazing that you're on there.
Oh my God. Thank you. No, It was so much fun. I'm so grateful.
So cool. Well, when did you write your first song?
Oh, I think I did write a couple songs in college. I had a vocal teacher who played piano, so we would like mess around together and write stuff. And I remember, it's so funny looking back now because I would have done it so differently. But I remember I got like a little band together. I got like a live drummer, a live piano player, a live guitar player to do like a studio session to record the song. And they were amazing. But, knowing now, I probably could have just had, electronic drums and someone laid down a track. But I was extravagant and committed.
Yeah.
So yeah, in New York, I had that experience. I did like a few little demos just on my own. And it was fun, but I don't know. I don't think I really created anything I was super proud of until I got to LA and started working with songwriters and producers here.
So those demos you made in New York, you didn't end up like putting out or anything?
No, sadly they're not out in the world, but we're always learning.
Yeah. Did you perform out at all aside from like being on stage for musical theater groups or theater stuff while you're in New York? Did you ever perform like an open mic or anything like that?
Oh yeah, I did stuff like that. But I was really mostly focused on theater and, mandatorily we had to be in like, a show a semester. So I would always be in rehearsal for those and doing those, and it just took up a lot of energy and like,
sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
But LA has been a great place to play around and,
Nice. Yeah. So you moved to LA and then you said you met a producer. Tell me about meeting the producer and then getting into those writing sessions.
Yeah. So I had wanted to start taking singing lessons with this like really famous vocal coach, but he was so expensive. And I was like, do I want to spend this money to go take a singing lesson, or do I want to eat this month? And so I ended up, going to the lesson with this coach. His name's Dave Stroud. He's amazing. And we had this great singing lesson. And then the next day he calls me like, hey, Emma, someone needs a demo singer, on their new song. Are you interested? And I said, oh my God, yes, of course. So I come in to do the demo vocals for this producer. And he was like, do you want to write something? And I was like, sure. And I'd never been in a legit writing session before. And yeah, just hearing my first song recorded was the moment for me where I was like, oh my God, yes, I can't sing other people's songs. I have to sing my own words.
And what song was that one that you ended up writing?
None of those songs from that first year actually ended up seeing light of day.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. I think I recorded, like 14 songs that year that never ended up going anywhere. But it was such an education for me, for the writing process, the recording process, laying down harmonies, the mixing process, and, figuring all that stuff out, shooting videos, shooting album covers. Even though none of the stuff, really came to anything, I just learned so much, and I was able to take that knowledge and go out and meet other producers, and, just work with as many people as I could, having that foundation.
What was the first song that you ended up officially releasing? Was that Pioneers?
Yes. Pioneers. I have such a soft spot for that song. It's still like my favorite. And it's funny because it's the oldest one, and usually I get sick of songs, and I just haven't gotten sick of it yet.
Tell me about writing that song, and was it scary, like finally putting something out online that's like living there now?
Oh, it was so exciting. I was so excited that people could just like play it on Spotify, and the first video I produced, really. I think writing it was just a great process. I wrote it with this producer, Danny DeBrito. He actually, he has a project called Fang, which is an awesome, like dark, cool DJ project. But he is an incredible pop producer. And this song was like extremely personal and right now, as in I wrote it, about a boy problem I was having that week. And yeah, it just felt so right. It just felt so good. And it felt like a new sound that I hadn't explored myself and I hadn't really heard before. Like I couldn't pinpoint it.
And then you said you produced the video as well?
I did.
Wow.
Yes. I actually produce all my videos.
Really? I watched that one. It's pretty rad. The different cuts, and you're like in a field at one point and running around, and
yes.
Yeah, it's a rad video. I like the different like filters and stuff that you guys used on some of the footage.
Thank you. Yeah, we worked with some really talented people. The director was amazing. And yeah, it was just so, I just remember shooting that video and looking around and being like, oh my God, all these people are here for my video. I can't believe it.
Yeah, that's
and it was
cool.
Just this moment.
Are you signed to a record label right now or no?
I'm totally independent.
Wow. So you put together that video, like these music videos kind of on your own, like finding people to shoot it and all that stuff. You had to kind of get all those people together by yourself?
Yeah, I mean, LA is such a cool place in the sense that there are just so many people who are creative and willing to collaborate and, want to get together to make something cool. If you have a really strong vision and you need to fill in the pieces, you just start calling in those favors. Yes, that's really how it was for me. And I learned so much producing those videos. And I obviously just directed this one that's coming out this week.
The new one. The quarantine video, right?
Yes, America's Favorite Tranquilizer.
I love it. Tell me about that song.
Thank you. Yeah, that song was the last session I had right before stay-at-home orders got really crazy.
Oh, okay.
It was just one dude and I remember I had gone to the supermarket that day, and it was like the first time I had been to the supermarket since all the COVID stuff started happening, and I was like, oh my God, the world is ending, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in like this weird post-apocalyptic headspace, and I was working with John Lundeen, who's an incredible alternative producer. He does a ton of stuff in like the alt rock world.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't really know what we would create together. You know, it was our first meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just so receptive to all my weird ideas. And I just felt totally safe to say whatever I wanted. Mm-hmm. And that's really how that song came to be. It's like about vices. It's about our numbing devices. America's Favorite Tranquilizer could be anything from weed to Netflix to Instagram to candy to whatever we use to, you know, tranquilize ourselves, numb ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the video too when that comes out. I don't know if you're willing to talk about it yet, but I got like a sneak peek of it. It's really funny.
Thank you. Yeah. I really wanted to do something silly.
Yeah, I think you succeeded.
Thank you.
Did you shoot that all yourself, or did you have somebody come in and film?
So I had a DP.
Okay.
And yeah, it was really last minute. Like we prepped for it in a few days. And yeah, I had a DP. We shot it at my friend's house. I had a 3-person crew. Obviously, this was like in the thick of quarantine,
Mm-hmm.
right, April. So we, you know, had to be super resourceful with whatever we had. So he had great equipment.
Mm-hmm.
My friend Matt and his girlfriend came and PA'd, and then I had a hair makeup artist, and we did it at an apartment and just made our apartment into this weird quarantine world. And I really just wanted to challenge the notion of like, are we really safer at home?
Mm-hmm.
Are we safe at home, stuck with our thoughts and ourselves and having to deal with the shit that we haven't been dealing with, keeping ourselves just, you know, moving on and so busy all the time. So I really just wanted a girl completely losing her shit in quarantine.
Yeah, I think you succeeded.
Thank you.
I love it. Yeah, with the Harry Styles thing, and then the No Place Like Home. Like it's definitely a very, very, very creative video.
Thank you so much. We art directed it at the dollar store.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
I
was wondering, like, how you got some of those props, like the little candies of like the French fries and stuff.
99-cent store, baby.
Wow, that's funny. And I love the vibe of the song too. Yeah, just
thank you.
Yeah, just the sonically, it's a really, really cool song as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that John is just so talented, and he is so quick. Like we met, you know, that one day. I've only met him once. That one day we wrote and recorded this song.
Wow.
So literally how you hear it now it was 99% that on day one, because he's just like a prodigy.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. Yeah. And is this going to be part of because you just released another single not too long ago, right? In like May or March?
Yeah. Worst Fight.
Worst Fight.
Available on all streaming platforms.
Yeah, no, that I listen to the songs that you have on Spotify, and that's my favorite one. I think that's it's a really really cool song.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah. Is that the worst fight? So is that are these part of what will become like an EP or something, or are they just singles for now?
For now, I'm just doing little bite-sized releases, singles.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to do an EP, or definitely an album.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have enough music for it. I think it's more just like the technicality stuff of, marketing it and figuring it out. So for me, it's just easy to go like one by one and figure it out per song instead of doing it all myself.
Yeah. Worst Fight has almost 200,000 plays on Spotify. That's crazy.
Yeah, Worst Fight did really well on playlists.
Yeah, so were you able to
funny.
get it playlisted and stuff?
Yeah, and it's like a slower song, so I thought we'd have more trouble, but Spotify, it ended up getting some buzz on Spotify, so that was really cool to see. And it was one of my, first releases where I've just had like organic numbers like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is a slower song. I don't know if this is going to be offensive, but it kind of reminds me of Taylor Swift's transition from like that country sound into like the pop world that she like lives in now. But it's like she has that slower, like, I don't know, like style or something, song like that. Like it kind of reminds me of that.
Totally. And I love that you said that because I actually wrote and recorded that song in Nashville with a country writer. So good
really?
ear.
Wow.
Yeah.
How funny. Yeah, because I'm listening to it and like, wow, this really reminds me. Like it's not like on the nose Taylor Swift, but it definitely, the tone of the song, it definitely has that feeling to me.
She's a huge influence for me lyrically.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up on Taylor Swift, so that's a huge compliment for me. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. I love Taylor Swift. I think she's one of the greatest artists of our generation.
Agreed.
But I don't know. A lot of people have mixed feelings about her, so I didn't want to offend you by saying that. Your song reminded me of her.
You can't deny, her lyrical and songwriting abilities.
Sure. Yeah.
Undeniable.
She's amazing. Have you been able to perform any of these songs live, like Worst Fight or the new one, or you're just going to put them out and kind of see what happens from there?
Well, COVID slowed down live performances for everyone.
Sure. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But did you have stuff scheduled that you were going to do, or not really yet?
I did.
Oh,
yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's okay. It will happen at the right time. I think that honestly, smaller shows will be the first ones to come back anyway, rather than like giant arena tours. So
sure.
Hopefully we'll be performing soon. But yeah, Worst Fight always makes everyone cry. So that's definitely a good one to perform.
Yeah.
Every time I perform it, you can hear like a pin drop in the audience because people are like, oh my God, so sad. But yeah, no, I've gotten the chance to play around town and just still like working on my live setup, and every single show just trying to figure out what I can do to improve it and streamline it and who my people are. And yeah, process.
Have you tried to are you planning on shopping around some of these songs to get a record label and do like a big tour, or you still like to stay independent?
Well, I actually just I signed recently to UTA, so I'm really excited about that.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so they've been awesome. I was right before COVID, so everything they had booked for me canceled or rescheduled. But they're awesome, so I'm really excited for the live opportunities that will come from them. And then I'm definitely open to a record label. For me, I just want to make sure that I find people who just align with my vision. And yeah.
Cool. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today, Emma. I really appreciate it. And I wanted to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Yeah, I would say that my advice is you don't need a ton of money to make something and put it out. in 2020, which is what I think is so cool about the time we're living in right now. Like, take an iPhone, have your friends film you, be creative, just keep putting stuff out there, and eventually people will start to catch on.